what question do you think goes through an incel's mind after seeing those two YouTube videos?
I think he might.
You explain to me what happens after the fade to black.
Oh! Is there lotion? Is there lotion nearby just now? Container for your teeth, chapstick. Lotion. Is that a gun? On today's topic of me getting into business I have no business getting into, this video is questionably which Smash characters have canonically smashed. Yeah, look, I know. Look, I don't promise to be the leader of like clean content, but when I saw this title, I had no choice but to click on it. Can you blame me? Can you blame me? All right, so let's see which cheeks got cracked and which cheeks didn't. Welcome back to Stanley Off Live. Happy to have you. Offline. Happy to have you. Let's get into it.
Back in November 2023, Shafrilla's Productions made a video about which Smash characters have eaten pizza, and it was a really good video. And then, a few months later, Goombana made one about which Smash characters have kissed, and it was yet again a great video. So what question do you think goes through an incel's mind after seeing those two YouTube videos? That's right. Pure Kadunkin. Nothing in my brain except pure unadulterated Jerusalem.
Okay.
Which Smash characters have smashed?
Okay. We're here, chat.
We'll get some easy ones out of the way real quick and start by putting these characters.
$1! 14 months. $1. You might be longest tenured sub. Tyler's calling back. Yo, I am streaming, and I know you were probably asleep. I'm watching a video, and I wanted to show you something because it goes through an incel's mind after seeing those two YouTube videos. For the video. The video's called which characters have. The video's called which characters have canonically smashed. In Smash, that he hung up. He hung up. I think he might quit. I think he might quit. I think he might quit. Yeah, he said don't call me anymore. Yeah, I think it's over.
That's right, straight. We'll get some easy ones out of the way real quick and start by putting these characters in the Boinker tier. All of these characters have confirmed kids such as Bowser or Olimar, or they have confirmed descendants in cases like Marth or Simon. We only have one easy placement in the Probably Doingers tier with Link. The Probably Doingers tier is for characters who have very clearly implied adult nap time. Most often through a romantic scene followed by a fade to black, or are in a long-term romantic relationship. And when it comes to Breath of the Wild Link,
Link was in the water? Yo, Link was getting it in anywhere. Yo, what Link got on him? I'm so sorry. I'm walling.
You explain to me what happens after the fade to black.
Oh! There's no way that's actually real. There's no way this is real.
Black. We will also be placing all of the Pokemon in the They Could Be Kadonkers tier, since all Pokemon can technically canoodle by placing them in a daycare with a Pokemon of the same egg group. And it isn't really worth explaining what an egg group is right now, just know that Gardevoir and Muck can technically have a kid together. Huh. It was surprisingly easy to find out what that would look like. Or all Pokemon can port.
Why was he in bed? Is there lotion? Is there lotion nearby just now? There's no way.
Was surprising.
Okay. Container for your teeth, chapstick, lotion. Is that a gun? This blicked up. Okay. Okay. Okay, there's no lotion. There's no lotion. There's no lotion. There's no lotion. I had to check, bro. I had to check. I had to check.
Find out what that would look like. Or all Pokemon can port the Nasty Slut Ditto. However, the daycare is of course optional content, which is why these characters are in the they could be Kadonkers tier. Because this tier is for any characters with optional content within their games that results in business time. And since it's optional, it is up to the experience of the player whether or not there is any Kadonkin. All of these RPG guys also go in the they could be Kadonkers tier. Because they all have optional endings in their games where you get with some other character and have kits. However, if you decide not to take these routes, there is no glazing the donut. Next up, we will place all these characters into not Jahoozlers tier. All of these characters simply lack any evidence at all that they ever did any pencil sharpening, so we are naturally forced to assume that they never have. Doing this allows me to assume that everyone in my life that I haven't seen souring the crowd are virgins, which doesn't make me the last one among my peers who still.
Yo, this dude tall, by the way, bro. This is dead what I be looking like in like a typical shower. This tall, gang.
Doesn't put the hot dog in the bun.
Because he's hunching a little bit.
Side effect is I still think my parents are virgins. My grandparents, on the other hand. So, as unlikely as it seems, Alf is celibate. In the don't know about Yahoobaling tier, we can quickly place Dark Samus, since she is a being made of pure energy that was made from Samus. So, while she would theoretically have the proper human anatomy to dance in the sheets, it is unlikely that she was both made aware of the concept and performed it in her time spent existing.
Right.
And in our final tier, the erectile dysfunction tier, we can quickly place our
Go ahead and place my chat in there. Go ahead and place my chat in there, man.
Two forgotten Pokemon, Pichu and Mewtwo, seen as they are both incapable of whittling the love branch. Since Pichu is considered a baby Pokemon, which is a group of small Pokemon incapable of creating an egg, and Mewtwo is a legendary Pokemon, all of which are also incapable of producing an egg, no matter how many Dittos you throw at them.
There, watch out, bro.
Erectile dysfunction tier, we have Rob and Mega Man.
What? My nigga Mega Man overly be getting shorties. Can we look up how old Mega Man is first, though? He's 10. Never mind. My Mega Man OD be getting treats in daycare. I don't know.
Because I wish technology was there, it just isn't yet. And that's it for the easy placements, which just leaves us with. That's a lot of love.
That's a lot of people.
I have to talk about monkey sex. Oh. Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are primates, obviously.
Right.
Being a gorilla and spider monkey, respectively.
Donkey Kong had to overly crack something. What are we talking about? Let's move to the next one.
We will be Googling gorilla putting their banana in the fruit salad to figure out their likelihood of monkey business.
Okay.
For gorillas, the alpha male of the tribe is the primary banana user with all mature females. And Donkey Kong being the gorilla who controls the main source of food, the banana horde, he is most likely the alpha. So not only does this potentially explain how Wrinkly Kong died, it also places DK in the probably doingers tier. Diddy Kong, on the other hand, is much more interesting, because Diddy is often characterized as a child, which could mean that he lacks the proper development to have his coconuts drop.
Yeah, I don't think Diddy been there
However,
before.
He does have a girlfriend,
Turn your mic
Dixie
up.
Kong. And animals aren't known for having relationships outside of the express purpose of reproduction. However, we do have to bring up that for the animals in the cast, we can't go exclusively off of animal logic. Since these animals all show closer to human levels of intelligence and have very human-like societies, we can't assume that they entirely operate off of the same instincts as—
I'm not gonna lie, bro. The inklings are off of like whatever this game's called, I can't remember, overly be cracking. Something about them, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Animals. So this could very easily be—
What is this poll? Is Stanley on the erectile dysfunction tier? Why did 100% of y'all say yes? Why did 100% of you guys answer yes to that? What's wrong with y'all?
Be intended as a childhood thing where kids pretend to be boyfriend girlfriend for fun. That means we can't take this relationship as absolute proof of some sort of monkey balling going on, even though in nature this would be proof. So unless we can prove that Dixie and Diddy Kong are of age to jungle jam, we don't have any evidence to place Diddy outside of not Jehoozler's tier.
However, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you sexualized teenage monkey.
Tiny Kong is Dixie Kong's younger sister. She first appeared in the game Donkey Kong 64, clearly being a very young child. However, this would not be Tiny Kong's last appearance, and while she wouldn't appear for a while, she would return in a few spin-offs during the Wii era. And...
Hey, hey, no.
She clearly matured, and I will remind you that if she matured as Dixie Kong's younger sister, that would make Dixie Kong also a post-pubescent monkey, making Diddy likely the same as well, and being a post-pubescent monkey with a girlfriend, he will go in probably Doinger's tier. And finally, our last Donkey Kong.
I will say I am astounded. This video has way more effort than I thought it would. Yo, facts, Heather. Yo, facts.
Kong character, King K. Rool, who is a Kremling, which are based off of crocodiles. Crocodile mating rituals.
K. Rool definitely could, but I feel like he just too chopped. I'm not gonna lie. K. Rool is ugly, man.
Are done by first a male rubbing his snout against a female to convince her to take the lower snout. However, yeah, he's not getting any crocodile cloaca with that thing.
Like, you see the way he looked.
Right, K-Rool, but if there's an average, some of us have to be below it.
I want you guys to know K. Rool is one of Yo-Yo's favorite characters. Am I saying that means anything? Absolutely not. I'm just pointing it out. You know what I'm saying? My favorite character. Hold on. Let me see if my characters are on here. I only play. Oh, I'm not even gonna.
After all that animal stuff, we'll talk about human butter churning.
My favorite character. He's not gonna show it. Is or not favorite. This is what I play in Smash. This is what I play in Smash. I play Inkling. I play Mega Man. And then I play. There's somebody else I think I play. I can't remember right now. But Inkling and Mega Man are my go-tos. Inkling and Mega Man are my go-tos.
For a moment. We will be returning to weird animal stuff, though. We Fit Trainer is clearly committed to living the healthiest lifestyle possible. And if you don't know, the ideal healthy lifestyle involves a decent amount of stuff in the muffin. So since we have no direct proof...
You feel me? I'm about to send this to my crush. Hold on. Hey, listen to what he's saying.
Is clearly committed to living the healthiest lifestyle possible. And if you don't know, the ideal healthy lifestyle involves a decent amount of stuff in the muffin. So since we have no direct proof, she will be placed in...
My lifestyle unhealthy as hell right now. My lifestyle is so unhealthy right now. I'm so unhealthy. I'm so unhealthy. I'm so, bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. This might be the unhealthiest I've ever been.
Probably Doinger. Sora doesn't know about it.
I don't feel the need to justify myself here, but for what it's worth, Goofy has done it.
Lucas! I've decided to just place him in the probably tier without talking about what's actually going on because this scene is really weird. Zelda and Sheik are pretty simple. For the few of you who don't know, the reason that every Zelda features different versions of Link and Zelda is because of Demise's curse. In the very first game in the Zelda timeline, Skyward Sword, the villain, Demise, cast said curse. The curse states that those with the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero will have to fight an incarnation of Demise's hatred for all time. And if you pay attention to the wording, it says the blood of the goddess, which means that in order for this curse to continue, then Zelda's bloodline has to continue for all time. Right. So, every version of Zelda's Gerudo Valley has been filled.
Man, jokes aside, I've been yapping this video, by the way, so I'm so sorry. This is like really like put together.
You'll notice that for Link's part of the curse, the hero's spirit, it only says spirit, which does not imply bloodline. So, in the absence of other evidence, Tink and Yink's Master Sword has gone unused. BJ. He has no evidence, of course, but in Super Mario Sunshine, he believed that Peach was his mother. And remember that Bowser is this big in this game. He has no idea how babies are made. Duck Hunt. We actually have to evaluate 3 characters on this one, being the dog, the duck, and the guy holding the NES Zapper. The dog is somewhat simple.
There's no way he's talking about the dude holding the NES Zapper. Yo, how much time does he have on his hands?
It's clearly implied to be an own dog. It's fairly common for hunters to have dogs that retrieve the things that they've shot for them. And this is clearly implied to be the case here, which means this dog is almost certainly owned, and most dog owners don't like it when their dogs attempt to do some tunnel patrol. So owners tend to take matters into their own hands to avoid ending up with a litter of puppies. Which, in the case of male dogs, like the Duck Hunt dog, they accomplish this by ripping their balls off. Next up, the duck. Like they say, if it walks like a duck, it swims like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it probably makes love like a duck. In case you don't know, ducks are quite excited creatures. They know what they like and they do it a lot. So yeah, probably a doinger. And finally, our marksman, who is a very important part of the Duck Hunt trio. For those of you who aren't entirely aware, all of the shots that happen in Duck Hunt smash attacks and special moves are done by an off-screen character who is utilizing an NES Zapper.
You know what's crazy? I didn't know that. Wow. I'm not even kidding, bro. Yo, as funny as this video is, dead as this is going crazy right now. I didn't know that. I just saw it as a move, bro. I've put hours into Smash, and I didn't know that. That's crazy.
NES Zapper was an old gaming peripheral that was used for the original NES Duck Hunt game, among some others.
Wow,
so this is some
dope.
guy who still plays with an NES Zapper 40 years after it was released.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's a virgin.
I did not know that's where he was going with that. He said, and yeah, that's a virgin. Yo, this video's fire. Oh my gosh, this video is actually amazing.
Ryu.
This channel's the best thing that I ever started. Oh my gosh.
He actually does not care for the bedroom battle. He only cares for actual battling. He has no desire for any relationship and only cares for his training and increasing his strength. So
okay, Stanley, you can show us the Zapper now. I'm gonna ban you. How do I time somebody? How do I time somebody out? How do I time somebody out? This is my chat. I don't have to take abuse from y'all. Hey, you lucky, bruh. You lucky I'm in a good mood, bruh.
So it's a pretty easy placement. Wario.
Wario had to.
Yeah, they probably tried.
Yeah.
Samus should have been pretty cut and dry. There's just no evidence for any potential relations in any game. However, there is 2 Samuses, being Samus in the suit and, of course, Zero Suit Samus. And if Smash is going to consider these different characters, then I have 2 as well. So Samus becomes an entirely different person outside of the suit, and if we're talking about the person within the suit, it's kind of hard to have some afternoon delight in a metal suit.
Yeah,
So,
I'm pretty sure there's not like a meat compartment.
Captain Falcon does have a kid, maybe. In F-Zero Maximum Velocity for the Game Boy Advance, this character appears, named Kenta Akechi. Within the game, we don't learn much about this character, but in the game's Japanese manual, it is stated he is a young 24-year-old pilot. According to him, he supposedly inherited the blood of Captain Falcon, but nobody knows the truth about that. Nobody knows the truth. What does that mean? Not only
How
that,
does nobody know the truth about that?
but there's a second translation on the wiki that says nothing about inheriting, just that they have the same blood, which could mean Captain Falcon is just his uncle or something. Nintendo Power did publish an article about the game that directly states that he claims to be his son. But this likely
Holy research, bro, Senshi, I'm saying.
it wasn't written by the original game developers and could easily just be the writer's interpretation of this intentionally vague line. So I'd say this isn't confirmation that he is claiming to be his son.
Right.
However, that is still the most likely interpretation, so we'll just assume that is the case until we can get a better consensus on what is said in this character description. But even if we assume that he is claiming to be his son, What is stopping them from just saying it? Why even bring up the idea that he's not his son, unless you're going to explore whether or not he isn't? He does look similar to Captain Falcon. We get to see Captain Falcon's face briefly in the F-Zero anime, and the hair and eye colors line up, as well as arguably the nose. And this was released after Maximum Velocity, which means this could be an attempt to retroactively confirm that they're related. But in this same anime, they gave Captain Falcon the name Douglas J. Falcon, and the last name Falcon is not Akechi, so the anime is both trying to confirm and confirm it at the same time. But then we have to ask whether or not the anime is even canon, and if it is, could Kent have changed his name to Akechi to avoid all of the enemies Falcon likely created by being a bounty hunter? But if so, why would he even
he is a thinker. I gotta sub to this channel.
Claim to be Falcon's kid if it's rushing, have to change your name over it? What is going on, Nintendo? None of this makes any sense!
Captain Falcon is a
Virgin until Nintendo gets their story straight is hilarious.
virgin until further notice.
All right, let's do some easier ones. Little Mac. Not only is there no evidence, but there's a common myth amongst boxers that pile driving causes you to lose strength for fighting. So if Little Mac is as dedicated as he says he is, then he is not a Jehoozler.
Is that true?
Fox McCloud, don't worry, we don't have to talk about fox mating rituals. Because in one of the endings for Star Fox Command for the DS, a game no one played, he does have a son named Marcus. However, this is only mentioned in 1 out of the 9 endings, so he could be a Kadonker.
I think that's good enough evidence.
We can also do Falco real quick, and now we're back to mating rituals. Falco is in fact not a falcon, but a Kalige pheasant, which is
I be hating this. It's like how Squidward not a squid, but he an octopus. Get your get your stuff right, bro. If you don't make your games, bro, get your stuff right.
an animal that only jams the clam with one.
That's like saying Rigby not a raccoon. He a skunk. Like, wouldn't that make you hot? Like, get your stuff right, bro.
Bird for life. And they like to settle down in a nice nest to raise their young. And based on the fact that Falco doesn't stay anywhere for a significant amount of time and likes to fly alone, he likely doesn't have a mate and goes in the not Jehoozler tier. Bayonetta, despite being the most sultry character on the roster besides Alf, she doesn't have any direct evidence within the game of any shaking of the sheets.
Really? Really? Don't judge a book by its cover. Hey, man, that's really what it is. Like, you can't judge a book by its cover, bro.
But the director of the game did say during a Bayonetta event. According to Hideki Kamiya, the creator of Bayonetta, she did a certain thing to acquire this beauty mark, in a tone that was clearly meant to imply that Bayonetta received it after a bedroom rodeo.
You guys won't believe what just happened.
Why is he sweating?
This does imply quite a few weird things about the series, including Jean, Bayonetta's Umbra witch friend, is actually a 600-year-old virgin, but it is consistent with the series. Every Umbra witch with a confirmed child has the mark. So, since he didn't say it directly, that's a probably doingers for Bay.
Okay. I was about to say, I'm not gonna lie, she can't be in the not category. She has to be in the probably.
Rosalina most likely doesn't know what it is, seeing as she has lived exclusively with tiny star guys in the middle of space ever since she was a small child. And she doesn't
That sounds mad sad.
meet another human until she meets Mario in the Galaxy games. And Mario probably wouldn't just suddenly start telling her about the birds and the bees.
He was telling her what that plummeting pipe really do. I had to get a joke there. I was so sorry. I just wanted to. I think it was a good joke.
So she has no idea what the Tube Snake Boogie is. Luma also counts as a character, and Luma's apparently just come into existence. They just spawn, so they don't actually reproduce, so that means they all have erectile dysfunction. Isabelle. I thought I was gonna have to look into like wild dog mating when I first started researching Isabelle, but it turns out that Isabelle and Doomslayer are confirmed to be married, all because of a meme back in 2020, and that's enough for me to avoid researching dogs dogging. Inkling. The moment I started looking into Inkling, I noticed something weird. There are no known parents anywhere in Splatoon. Absolutely.
Splatoon, that's what the game's called. I'm not gonna lie, they have to be doing it. The ambiance, the vibe that they just give off, I just feel like Inkling could just be cracking, bro. I'm just saying, like, y'all get together and throw painting the city parties, bro. I'm not gonna lie, you can't convince me that y'all don't be, like, you feel me? When y'all refilling the paint and restocking, y'all can't tell me y'all not throwing mad squidding on each other, bro.
No one has parents at all, so I initially thought maybe Inklings reproduce in a different way. But Splatoon lore is that after Earth flooded, squids evolved to become the dominant race in the form of Inklings. Which means at the end of the day, these are still squids and should still reproduce by digging up the sand crab.
Right.
So we'll just have to research how squids torpedo their eel.
Zara, what's good? Appreciate the first time chat.
Fascinating. Okay, after a short detour, I've discovered that in order for squids to make babies, they do the deed, after a bit they lay the eggs, and then all the adults die. And everything about the Splatoon world now suddenly makes sense.
Whoa, that actually is crazy. Wow.
And since Inkling is alive, that's an easy not Jahoozlers tier. Snake!
Oh, wait. Oh, because if they were alive, they would be dead. Like, if they're alive, they would be dead. If they were doing it, they would be dead. But that does mean that they do go on to do it, though. You get what I'm saying? Nah. Because it means that they do go on to do it. But I guess they haven't done it. Okay, right.
Snake actually just can't do it. Snake isn't a normal guy, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but he was genetically engineered, and among other things, he was engineered to be incapable. But he was genetically
deadass. Watch him throw it
engineered, and among
look at the hips.
Among other things,
why you throw it on
he was engineered to be incapable of tipping the velvet. So, Kid Icarus.
Poor Snake.
All of these characters don't really have any sufficient proof of any hiding the bishop. However, this entire universe is based on Greek mythology. I don't know if you've read Greek mythology before, but literally every character in Greek mythology is getting down with every other character in Greek mythology. Cloud and Sephiroth. Cloud himself does have some interesting evidence. During a scene towards the end of Final Fantasy VII, there is a cutscene where it is heavily implied that Cloud and Tifa Lockhart, his love interest throughout the game, did my Final Fantasy together.
It should have been me.
However, this is only implied, and I think there's more to this puzzle. In Final Fantasy VII, a lot of the story revolves around this substance called Mako. Mako is a green liquid that comes from deep within the planet that is used by the Shinra Corporation to power the majority of the world's technology. But most importantly, it seems to be on some level a nuclear radioactive substance. Not only is it used as a source of power, but you become sick after too much exposure to the substance. It can cause mutations in cases of extreme exposure, and the biggest connection, it glows neon green, which is the color most often used to indicate radioactivity in media. Some details are different from regular radioactive substances, including Mako poisoning causing you to see the memories of all souls that have ever lived, but I'd still say Mako is clearly intended to be Final Fantasy VII's version of nuclear substances. Something to note about radiation is significant exposure to it can kill your nerves in areas that are directly exposed to it, including the nerves of the dingling. And those nerves being destroyed prevents you from obtaining an extra bone. Many characters are exposed to Mako throughout the story of Final Fantasy VII, including Cloud and Sephiroth. So, if they had prolonged exposure directly to their lower region, that would mean, oh god, it's their whole body. And they both fell into the direct source of Mako, the life stream. Now, Mako isn't as intense as regular radiation, seen as Cloud and Sephiroth survive these things. And while neither are directly stated to have any nerve damage, it's so hard for me to believe that such a high amount of direct radiation would leave his busting sword fully functional. I mean, if sitting in water that is too hot for too long is enough to cause damage to a member, then there is no...
I forgot about that. Yeah, well, you're high-key not supposed to go inside a hot tub because they be like frying your shit. I forgot that was a thing.
Way this prolonged exposure is fine. Now, nothing here is direct evidence, so I can't directly place them in erectile dysfunction tier accurately, so... Daisy is surprisingly easy. I didn't know this, but according to the Great Gatsby Cliff Notes, Pammy is Daisy and Tom's son. So that's pretty easy. Oh, wow. Piranha plant.
Has to.
Is a plant.
He has to.
Does pollination count?
He has to.
I don't know.
He has to. He has to. He has to. He has to. Pollen is literally yamin. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pollen is literally that. He has to, whether he knows it or not. And there's mad piranha plants around, bruh.
Kirby.
Does pollination count? Pollination OD counts. Does pollination not count to y'all? Pollination OD counts.
For those of you who don't know, Kirby is a version of Void made out of pure positive emotions. And my Mormon bishop once told me that premarital nailing is the root of all evil, so that's pretty easy. However, this does make Meta Knight confusing. Meta Knight is clearly intended to be another member of whatever Kirby's race is, which would theoretically include Kirby, Meta Knight, Galactic Knight Zero, and Void Termina. The only of which that have ever shown any reproduction capabilities is Zero's ability to create dark matter, and it is speculated that Void Termina is the one who created all these characters, but it isn't confirmed. So we have no idea if Meta Knight is even capable of reproduction, and I ran out of leads, and I'm starting to run out of patience overall, so I asked the Kirby lore Reddit.
Yes, it was me.
All right.
Okay.
Last Kirby character, King DDD. What are Waddle Dees? Why are they so loyal?
That's who my other character was. I used to play King DDD a lot. Yeah. I used to OD play King DDD.
Yoshi doesn't make sense. The titular Yoshi that appears in all the spin-offs, including Smash, is a male, but is also capable of having babies. And that's because, according to the Japanese version of Super Smash Bros. Melee, Yoshis do not have gender, even though they do, because Yoshis reproduce asexually. Okay. Fine. The Ice Climbers.
Ice Climbers.
They have to be crushing ice together. They have to be, though. I ain't gonna lie.
I never could tell if these guys were siblings or dating. America's 263rd favorite game show. You are a lucky new contestant. Now tell me, dating or siblings?
Triple D versus Triple T. Who wins? Who's Triple T?
Similar siblings? They were dating. Now tell me, siblings or dating? I don't know what that. Similar?
Dating.
Dating. Siblings. You're dumb. Now tell me, siblings or dating?
Siblings.
Those are basically the same person.
Siblings.
Wow, isn't it so weird that they look so alike? Despite dating? Siblings or dating?
Alright, Brett. Dating.
Those are actually identical twins. Siblings.
Oh yeah, deadass. Yeah, those are literally the same people. Yo, siblings. I'm fried. Yo, my brain's fried, bro. I don't know what to think.
Dating. They look so alike, don't they? What? Siblings or dating? This game doesn't make any sense. Why are we as humans so fascinated by the fact that people who date
Nigga in the chat said both.
look similar? When theoretically, if we're going for the
home Alabama.
the diversity of the gene pool, we should be dating people who look very different from us, but yet people seem to date people so similar to themselves, which calls into question the entirety of the evolution theory and everything around it, and all of science. And it just begs the question, was Freud right? Should I do my mom?
All right. Who's ready to talk about Minecraft baby crafting? Zombie can easily go into erectile dysfunction because he's a dead guy, and shortly after you die, your heart stops pumping blood, so your diamond sword can no longer become filled with blood. Endermen are confusing. It's not confirmed how they exist, except that they come from the end, which doesn't really give us anything to go off of.
Who do y'all main in Smash, chat?
There is an interesting fact about the specific iteration of Enderman that we have in Smash, being that he is short. There is no precedent for Enderman to be short like this, so what does this mean? There is a pretty easy explanation, which is that many mobs in Minecraft have a smaller version of themselves that are created after a bit of How's Your Father. All of these baby forms are incapable of creating new mobs, unlike the larger versions of themselves. And this Enderman being so small would imply that it is a baby Enderman, which would mean that it is incapable of reproduction. Now, Steve and Alex. What is the player in Minecraft? Where do they come from? And more importantly, is putting Minecraft beds next to each other a dirty, dirty sin?
Game theory, Minecraft lore in order. 26 videos? Has this been here the whole time?
Why is he always soggy, bro? ass
Dr. Mario, who is in fact a different character from Mario,
Really?
as confirmed by the Japanese manga Super Mario Kun, who within the same manga just has a kid with Nurse Peach. Peach doesn't have direct evidence despite BJ's direct accusations of being the one to birth him, but that's later said to not be true. However, the person who says it's not true isn't Peach, but actually BJ and Bowser during their conversation. In fact, when Peach is faced with the accusation of being his mother, she just says,
Mama Peach, I'm your mama?
at no point does she say, that's not true, that's impossible,
Yeah,
or
I'm
some
not gonna
variant
lie.
of...
Her not saying that's impossible is kind of throwing me off, bro. Yo, Mario, you might could leave her with him.
At no point have I ejected a turtle from my hole.
Right.
She never directly denies it, and I think her tone implies
She is Rosalina's mother, I think, according to MatPat. I haven't
that
seen
she
that
thinks
video.
it's plausible. So while
Stansha OD react to Minecraft lore. Oh, yo, Shinji, you might have. All right, Shinichi, you might have just gave me a good idea. I ain't gonna lie, that sounds fire.
it's confirmed to not be BJ because of Bowser
Peach and Mario are friends. We all go through it, man. We all go through it, man. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
from BJ's final conversation, these actions may imply
I'm
that there
joking,
might
I'm
be a
joking.
Koopa out there with a claim to the Mushroom Kingdom throne. Sonic the Hedgehog. Despite the overwhelming amount of evidence out there on the internet, there is no direct evidence of Sonic using his chili dog. In the Archie comics, there is a story about an alternate future where he has kids, but not only is that called an alternate future, which means reality could
Right.
easily go in a different direction, but the Archie comics aren't technically canon to the mainline Sonic games, and this is clearly intended to be video game Sonic, not
Right.
comic Sonic. Now, you may think that our next option is to look into
Hedgehog.
real-life Hedgehog hanky-panky, but it doesn't really apply here. Sonic is just so far removed from the actual animal hedgehog that
Yeah.
any attempt to apply hedgehog
Sonic borderline doesn't even have to be a hedgehog. Like, I don't think anything about Sonic being a hedgehog matters. Like, it's not like SpongeBob SquarePants where, like, him being a sponge is part of the character. Does Sonic do a single hedgehog thing?
logic here just doesn't work. He's lived far longer than any hedgehog, living
Yeah.
15 years. He reached maturity at 15 as well, because both classic and modern Sonic are 15, even though modern Sonic had a birthday in Generations, which should mean he's 16.
Yeah, it's more
but
of a title
fine,
fact.
he's 15. And his dynamic with Amy is completely backwards, since the males normally have to woo the females. So I can't comfortably just say hedgehogs like using their big quill a lot and move on, since Sonic being a hedgehog is pretty
Right.
much just a lie, and Sonic is clearly something more akin to a human with blue fur.
Which means Sonic porn is safe for us anti-furries.
So, we'll have to examine Sonic's relationships like a human. And there is only one woman Sonic has eyes for, and that's, of course, Princess Elise Soliana III.
This is probably the worst idea I've ever had.
That's right,
You have
Elise
to
is
take
the
all that
only
down.
person Sonic has ever shown romantic interest in. Not Amy, not Rouge, and not Shadow. Only this entirely human girl. I know we just established that Sonic is more human than Hedgehog. And does that make it some form of
Sonic like
racism
human
that I'm
shit.
against this interspecies relationship? Maybe, but I'm still uncomfortable. So let's get it over with. Did they or did they not do a bit of the old in and out? While there's quite a few flirtatious cutscenes, most of them are cut off by some conflict or clearly don't end with anything special. But after Elise is rescued from Eggman for the second time, Elise and Sonic share a moment by this pond where they look longingly at each other, the screen fades to black, and we suddenly cut to the next day.
Nah. In the middle of some grass, have some decorum. Have some decorum. Nah. There's no way. There's no. He's meatless though. It's underneath the fur. You gotta remember, it's fur. It's not skin. It's just. You feel me? It's underneath the fur. You just gotta move like. If you ain't trimming a minute.
Mr. Game and Watch.
All right.
Mr. Game and Watch is the main character of every traditional Game and Watch system, which means that if any of these games have sufficient evidence for taking the skin boat to Tuna Town, then Game and Watch will get himself certified.
They don't.
And after watching through every single Game and Watch game,
My
I thought he'd be an easy no.
And then the rat came.
There
is he
were
getting
both
wetter?
Mickey Mouse and Popeye Game & Watch games, meaning Mickey Mouse and Popeye are in Smash as a part of Game & Watch. So if either of these guys have ever put the mouse in the trap, then our skinny boy will have in turn utilized his thin sausage.
Who's ready to learn about rat screwing? I am.
Mice are well known to be very fecund creatures,
Okay.
which means that when they play Egyptian rat screw, most of the time, many offspring spawn. But Mickey has somehow never had any kids in any Mickey Mouse media I could find, which I at first thought could mean that Mickey is a save it for marriage type of guy. But then I found this book. Walt Disney, Hollywood's Dark Prince was a book written by Mark Elliott and alleges many heinous things about the guy who created the biggest media conglomerate to ever exist. And among other claims, it alleges a story about Walt's 35th birthday. When his 35th birthday was coming up, Walt's brother, Roy Disney, had encouraged Disney employees to throw a surprise birthday party for Walt. While they were working on the party, two of the animators had a brilliant idea to, as a gift for Walt, make an animation of Mickey and Minnie doing a horizontal tango.
Walt Disney got their family buried in the craziest debt or some random island off the side of the Bermuda Triangle, gang. Those people do not exist anymore.
Huh? Walt, of course, hated it and had all copies of it destroyed. But this
Yeah. Walt, by the way, all copies include their family. Walt run the Disney Corporation like the CIA, bro. I don't know if that bloodline is still alive today.
would still be an animation made by official Disney employees, which would be absolute proof of the mouse not being as innocent as he is presented. But there's obviously no proof that the story is real, and the book that it comes from is often said to be full of lies by Disney employees. But of course, Disney employees may have an incentive to say it is false. But this book does make some pretty outlandish claims as well, including that Disney was actually born 10 years before his birthday is said to be, and was the illegitimate son of a Spanish noble and a peasant that was sent to America. And there's actually some decent evidence for that, but it's still so outlandish I don't think I believe it. But if that could technically... You know, I haven't checked on Popeye yet. I swear if I've been looking into Walt Disney's Spanish descent and Mickey Mouse fornicating, and I could have just checked to see if Popeye had a...
Ha!
Are you I spent hours researching Mickey Mouse to get to this. He had a kid the whole time.
This video was a mistake. Banjo-Kazooie. I have to talk about more animal rumpy-pumpy. Maybe I'll just get lucky and Banjo and Kazooie are in a relationship and we can just move on.
Done it. Yeah.
He effed that bird.
Good enough for me.
The lead developer spoke on that?
Luigi. Come on, just a couple more. Despite his relationship with Daisy and
That's
his
literally how I felt like, all right, just a couple more.
attempted relationship with Prince Peasley, the games don't contain any evidence of Luigi using his favorite pasta noodle. However, I don't care anymore. Just put him probably. I do Luigi. Mario.
And we've come to Mario, who I tried. I tried so hard, so I could say Mario boinked. But he just hasn't. In over 35 years.
My boy Mario been focused on that money, making sure Mom good, making sure Luigi got the mansion. Now Mario be working, bro. Hard hours plumbing, bro. That's no joke.
Of gaming history, he just hadn't. All I wanted in this video was just to know that he could pull.
To know he could pull is crazy.
And finally, we've come to the me's, which are, well, me.
And there you have it. You now know whether or not every Smash character has Smash. And now, for better or for worse, you will carry all of this information with you throughout your whole life somewhere in your subconscious. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not leave a like?
Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end.
This was such a good video. I gotta let him finish it out.
And since I don't have any patrons to read out like most YouTubers, I'm gonna read you out some words for smashing I get to use throughout this video. Well, everything I built over the past 27 minutes crumbles. Make the beast with 2 packs. Give a girl a green gown. Shoot twixt wind and water. Make whoopee. Grope for trout in a peculiar place. Jumping bones, tap that, and...
If you guys enjoyed knowing whether which character smashed or not, let me know who was the most surprising person on your list. With that being said, make sure you click this video right here. It's just as entertaining, if not more entertaining, than the video that we watched together. Don't take my word for it. Take Big Broski YouTube's word on it. They're the ones who put it up there for you. And I'm going to see you guys in the next one. With that being said, goodbye.